Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're back with Trident Boy, another replay from El Halcon in the recent Olympic tournament. And he's going to be taking Bretonnia once again, this time against another potentially tough matchup, the Lizardmen. So yeah, Albric leading the way. We've got a couple of pole arms here, a couple of foot squires, and spearmen out to the flanks. Plenty of mobs as well, as to be expected. Damsel Lore of Life, questing knights, and Companions of Cornell out on this flank. As for the other flank, more questing knights and defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis. As for the Lizardmen, we've got, let's see here, Pawhawk Sentinels, Pterodon Riders, front line of Temple Guard, no surprises there, second line of some Saurus Spears and Shields, regular Saurus with shields, including a Legion of Chakwa, Regiment of Renown. Also got two Bastiladon Solar Engines, and Red-Crested Skink Chief on foot. Very interesting. Right off the bat, you can see the Pterodon's going to be coming forward. Obviously, Albric doesn't have to fear too much of them in melee, and also the Peasant Bowman can kind of screen them out quite effectively as well. Very interested to see how this goes. There's a lot of anti-large, nice tight anti-large army from the Lizardmen, but we'll see. Like to see these solar engines start to open up here. But Albric looking to maybe come get in a quick cheeky charge. Does take a shot there from the solar engine. That is going to lower his stats, of course, because of the blinded effect, but he is going to get in here. 86 charge bonus with his anti-large. Does a little bit of damage on the charge there to the Bastiladon, but he's definitely not going to want to overstay his welcome for too long. Does go ahead and just pull back, get back up into the air. You can see the peasants coming forward here. We've got knights sweeping up and around the flank. A nice side shot there, cuts through at least one unit model, several unit models actually. Very good stuff, and yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Certainly going to be interesting. Saurus clashing in the front line now, or Temple Guard that is. Obviously way overkill against these peasant mobs. They will just cut through them in no time, but that's going to be very nice. The foot squires will trade a little bit better, especially against just regular Temple Guard. This is actually going to be a really cost-effective trade for these foot squires here, for those great weapon infantry. So yeah, they're going to get in there, start getting some work done. Ooh, a nice wind blast though from the Skink Priest Lore of Heavens, cutting through some of those foot squires there and disrupting their formation. Obviously the mob's not going to hold up for too long, no surprises there, but Albric once again comes down to go after this solar engine here, getting the support of some men-at-arms with halberds to support against these Saurus warriors. Looks like some healing also being dropped as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. So we've got more foot squires trading into Temple Guard here, extremely cost effective. That being said, there's this Bastiladon over here. Looks like these cav had come up and around, starting to get some rear charges. Likewise, these cav over here, these questing knights, are going to start to get some rear charges as well, getting a really nice charge here into these Saurus. Saurus don't have the most armor in the world, but the armor piercing does help somewhat against them, certainly. And yeah, you can see the Lizardmen unfortunately have let themselves get a little bit surrounded. There is still this pocket here, but you can see there's more cav in the back line. The Legion of Chakwa a little bit over pursuing as well. Going to be a bit rough, but here come the Knights Errant on a nice charge here. They'll be able to do some good initial damage, but obviously once the Legion of Chakwa turns around and starts to get attacks, they will return the favor quite significantly. Solar Engines also firing in, getting that blinded effect, lowering the attack and defense of the defenders, so they're definitely going to want to get out of there. But more cycle charging in the far side. You can see the Pterodon Riders being held nicely at bay by those pox arrows of peasants. And yeah, in the main line fight, another really nice wind blast, cutting through a whole bunch of peasants there. And yeah, they are getting pretty low. Those foot squires had been trading reasonably well. They've definitely traded at cost. But over here, unfortunately, one of the solar engines, still with quite a bit of ammo left, does get routed off by Albric and the Beast Slayers of Bastogne here as well. All that anti-large AP is just going to be way too much. Defenders of the Fleur-de-Lis managed to extricate themselves from the Legion of Chakwa, who are now being cycle charged by some questing knights. But yeah, this Bastiladon's probably going to get taken down here. Albric gets a couple really good attacks. The halberds are following up, and there's some questing knights in here as well, getting some swings. So yeah, should be the end of that boy. Meanwhile, over here, Bretonnia continuing to fight. Some of those defenders getting dragged down, but at this point, the bounce power slowly starting to grind in Bretonnia's favor, despite the infantry engagement not necessarily going super well. They've done enough damage to these Temple Guard and the Saurus that it's going to be tough for them to survive. And there's still a lot of very healthy heavy cavalry here, especially these questing knights. We've also got plenty of pole arms and the beast slayers as well, so they can get in here. And although obviously they're not meant for fighting Temple Guard, they can still do it to a degree. You can see the 2 Regiment of Renowned halberds duking it out here. Very flashy of the Lizardmen to have those glowing halberds, but yeah. I definitely like the pick of the Star Chamber Guardians here. Obviously, if your opponent chooses to go with Grail Knights, the magic attacks and the anti-large AP are very pertinent here, but more rear charges from Questing Knights over here, just wrecking through the Legion of Chakwa and these other swords here. Got Questing Knights and, yeah, Foot Squires and all the armor-piercing damage in the world, so it's going to be tough. Like I said, the bounce power is slowly going to grind in Bretonia's favor here, and there's not a whole lot that the Lizards can do to try and stop this. They don't have any real mobility for themselves, so they kind of just have to rely on Bretonnia to dictate the course of the battle. But here comes the Red-Crested Skink Chief trying to get back in the game here. He has popped the Warrior's Crest. You can see he gets a few really good swings there on Alberic. With the Warrior's Crest active, he's just got insane melee stats, getting some really, really good hits on Alberic here. But here comes some peasants to help support. He's going to now get distracted by them, and so he won't be there to help protect the Bastiladon. Honestly, the Bastiladon plus the Red-Crested Chief could probably beat out Alberic, but with the Red-Crested Chief being distracted there, that does allow Alberic to get a few more hits on the Bastiladon, and should be able to finish it off here. We'll see. But just with things are the way they are, this massive cav charge one more time. Looks like the rocks just got dropped there in the back line on those peasants who just decided to run away. But probably would have been better off to use it, honestly, against this big blob of heavy cavalry. If you could position these guys directly over this cav, then you could probably get a good drop rock there. Maybe take out quite a few, especially the Pawhawk Sentinels. Their special drop rocks ability does quite a bit of damage, especially armor piercing. But yeah, Alberic's coming over to try and finish off that Bastiladon. Honestly, that Red-Crested Skink Chief might have just wanted to stay over there. Yeah, you can see he's going to try and run back now, but probably just wanted to stay over there with the blind effect and everything. Probably he could have done some good damage to Alberic here, but as it is right now, there's just not really a way of dealing with like the rest of these halberds, for example. There's just way too many units left for the Lizardmen to deal with. Getting pretty close to critical army losses at this point, so yeah, Alberic gonna get out of this bit of a pickle. But the rest of his army is doing quite well. You can see the last of the Temple Guard getting ground through here. Plenty of peasant infantry, the Beast Slayers, and more getting in here, mixing it up. Yeah, get him with the halberd. There we go. Fun stuff. Always nice to see Bretonnia triumph against the Lizardmen as well. Like I said in my last video with them against the Skaven, it is potentially a tough time for Bretonnia, but I still think that they're one of the top tier factions, at least in my opinion. They definitely can hang with almost anyone, and even a tough matchup like this. Granted, I think the Lizardman build probably needed to be fine-tuned a little bit, some things here and there, but overall, still very well played El Halcon. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. I know I sure did. Always nice to see Alberic with his new trident doing what he does best, which is monster hunting. Able to take down one solar engine relatively easily, and then the other one in the late game. The Temple Guard obviously cut through a whole bunch of peasants. Saurus, same thing. You would expect some pretty high kill totals on these Lizardmen units, considering all of the peasants that were brought for Bretonnia. None of which did a whole lot, but 55 kills and 2 XP chevrons on these Foot Squires is excellent, excellent work. They must have mixed it up with some Temple Guard at some point. Likewise, 58 and an XP chevron here, 62, 34. The Questing Knights all did their role, their respective roles. So yeah, the 149 on the Star Chamber Guardians, very, very impressive. Unfortunately, just wasn't quite enough at the end of the day. Getting those 2 solar engines caught out by Alberic, I think, was a big mistake. Personally, I mean, I know the solar engines did well, and the large armored dinos are good against Bretonnia, but I might change them out for something else. Like, if you were to cut one of those, you could maybe bring, let's see, the Red-Crested Skink Chief's mount, the Stegodon mount, is a really good option against Bretonnia because of its high HP, high armor, does really good armor piercing damage and everything. So yeah, if we come over here and go Lizardmen, let's see, how much is that mount? So it's 1450. Okay, so you would need to find a little bit more cost savings in addition to just the Bastiladon in order to be able to bring this guy on the Ancient Stegodon, but I would definitely recommend doing so if you can. Just the big armored dinos are relatively hard for Bretonnia to deal with. The Ancient Stegodon, Engine of the Gods, or like the Regiment of Renown one here. Where is it at? This guy, the Thunderous one. Both of these can be pretty hard to deal with, and like if you take these two in tandem, obviously you're going to be a little bit lighter on the rest of your army. You won't be able to go quite so heavy on the Temple Guard. Still want to bring Star Chamber Guardians, but then I'd probably tank up on some Skinks just to be able to fight some peasants with, to give you some nice numbers. And then you have the two big dinos to kind of stand around. You could also grab some other units as well, maybe a couple of Pterodon Riders just to give you some mobility, kind of play around with it a little bit. Obviously, like, you need a caster in this build, for example, but something like this, I just think that the ancient Stegodons are really the way to go against Bretonnia. They have a pretty hard time dealing with them. Likewise, taking Alberic in the air against the Lizardmen can be good, but it also can be risky if they choose to go with, like, try and counter you in the air. It's a bit of a risk, but Tic-Tac-Toe obviously is pretty specialized, but even just like Tehenowin with the Manticore summon and some other abilities supported by the Ripperdactyls, the Colossodon Hunters, these guys just by themselves can rip apart Alberic no problem. So it is a bit risky to take Alberic up in the air, but yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. A lot of kind of cat and mouse in this matchup, but let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.